Hi, it's Tricia Johnston, residential realtor with Ladder & Bloom with your real estate tip of the week. Now that 2021 is here, I'm getting asked a lot what I expect the real estate market to be like this year. I don't have a crystal ball, but based on my experience and what I'm seeing in the market, here are the top 5 things I'm expecting us to see this year. First, interest rates will remain low, home sales will continue to be strong, and prices will gradually increase. Second, buyers will continue to prefer outlying areas rather than living in the city, at least for the first half of the year until the job market improves. Third, buyers will look for properties that have more space, both inside and out. Fourth, we'll see more new construction subdivisions being developed, especially in those outlying areas. And fifth, relocation will remain strong. As people continue to be able to work remotely, they'll prefer to live in more affordable areas and closer to family. Those are my top 5 predictions for sales trends in the real estate market this year. At the end of the year, we can look back and see how I did. I'm Tricia Johnston, residential realtor with Ladder & Bloom, and I'll be back here next week with another real estate tip for you.
Do you need cash? Do you want to consolidate debt? Premier Credit can help. They provide quick and confidential loans for any reason. Their service is same day and most loans are approved within minutes. You can apply in person or by the phone. Their experienced and knowledgeable loan professionals will leave you feeling confident that your loan is being properly handled in a secure manner. Premier Credit can be reached at 225-667-8100, or you can email WeSayYes@premiercredit.com, or stop by and spin the wheel at 139 Del Norte Avenue in Denham Springs. They're open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., and are a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. All right, Mickey Watson, how are you, sir?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. So in addition to being founder and owner of Buddy's BBQ, you also have the honor of being the very first guest I have right here in this podcast room.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if you win a prize for that or anything, but
Well, we'll see.
we'll see. That's right. That's right. We definitely want to get into, everything that Buddy's BBQ does and how you make it taste so good. But first, I want to get a little bit of your background. You have an interesting background, to say the least. So tell us a little bit about your history, where you were born and raised, a little bit on your family, and basically what you did prior to Buddy's BBQ.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I grew up in La Ranger out in Tangipahoa Parish. But from the time that I knew what I was doing, I was pretty much on the farm, milking cows. So
Working hard.
Working hard. Yeah. So we didn't shy away from that. It was one of those things where my mom said, hey, here's your allotment of money for your clothes for school. And if you want extra, you better get to work. So that's kind of what we did. And, I fell in love with the farm life. So we kind of did our own thing, and it was just hard work. Didn't know it was hard at the time, but
yeah, a lot of early mornings.
Oh yeah. So 4 in the morning, 4 in the evening type thing. So I did that throughout high school. When I got out of high school, I invested back in, bought a few cows, started farming with Henry Cattabos Jr. actually.
Okay.
And he had a bigger farm, was able to bring me in, and and so I did that for 2 years with him. So it was like 9 years total with his farm.
Wow.
But, just got to a point in my life where I was like, hey, is this really what I want to do the rest of my life? And had opportunity to get into construction, working in the oil and gas industry.
Yeah.
And so I always tell a story. A friend of mine pulls up, he's like, hey, man, I got a job. They're paying me $15 an hour. I'm like, for what? He's like, well, I'm a Boilermaker. I said, great. I said, what is that? And he said, I don't know, but they gave me the job. So I was like, cool. So I went.
They make boilers.
Yeah, so I went with the same plan, and then I took off from there. And I played around with cows and buying and selling calves and that kind of stuff throughout my time.
Yeah,
but just got in that world, and I basically ran turnarounds. So we would go all over the place working turnarounds. I got to travel the world. I mean, not the world, the country.
Yeah.
From the East Coast to West Coast, North, South. I was in Michigan, my last construction job. I came home. I guess I came home around end of March or April, and my dad passed away in July. And so that kind of like rearranged my world for me. I didn't know at the time, but that was a very pivotal point in my life.
How old were you at that time?
Oh, mercy. I guess I'm going to say somewhere around the 25, somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
So from that time, I needed to be home for my mom. My dad had a bunch of projects. My sister was married. They lived close by. So I just decided, hey, man, I'm going to kind of redo what I'm doing. So
yeah.
I hooked up with a company, just took a job. Hey, I said, I just want to work and go home to my mom at the time. So I took this job, and man, I fell in love with the business. It was at the time we were doing leak repair and hot tapping. So we were kind of like in our world, we worked for a company called Firmanite, and we're basically souped up plumbers.
Yeah.
So except in the oil and gas industry, they can't turn the valve off. So we would go in and fix it under pressure with heat and temperature. So we would go in. Everybody else would be exiting. We'd be going in.
Gotcha.
So it was real cool. We were kind of like, show up and get it done type people. So I really dove into that. And just from my background of working and, being involved with, if something's broke, just fix it.
Yeah.
Kind of like, we're not going to back down from all that stuff. So, I just dove into that business and really loved it. So,
well, and to back up a little bit, so you were obviously raised, that you work for what you get.
Exactly. Yeah.
And, you were 18, 19 years old, and you were, you were no stranger to getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
It's really the foundation. My grandfather farmed, my mother farmed, my daddy was in the, in the Navy. The foundation was built. I knew what it was like to get up and go to work. My mom and dad both worked. My dad was in, when he got back from service, he became a mechanic, and he worked every day as a mechanic. And so just having that foundation and, outside of farming, work was really easy to me.
Yeah.
Because I had such a background of hard work,
Sure.
So, and if you look around today, there's not many farms. It is really dwindled down, and it's a part of my life that my kids don't know nothing about.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the Buddies idea came from.
Yeah, because you do have some kids that are involved in that business. So you have 2 kids?
2 kids. One's she's a sophomore in college, and then her name is Caroline, and my son is a sophomore at Denham Springs here.
Go Jackets.
Yeah, go Jackets. So
we love Denham around here.
Yeah, no doubt.
So very good. So you're moving right along.
Yeah.
You're doing all that stuff.
So with that work, I didn't punch a clock every day. So we were kind of on call. And then I guess around right before I met my wife, I had an opportunity to go into management type. So it was really kind of in the field manager, if you will. So I did a lot of turnarounds and that kind of stuff. So I was the point guy. Basically, I just knew how to talk to people better than the other guys.
Yeah.
So it was pretty easy. Hey, you go deal with the customer. We're going to work. That type of thing.
Yeah.
So, but I met my wife. She had just finished her master's degree at LSU. She's an audiologist.
Wow.
And met her. We bought our first house in Denham Springs up by AB Baptist Church, and we started life there. And that's when I decided to transition out of the on-call business, because it's very tough, waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning with a phone call, and plans get erased. Weekends, we worked on the weekends. That's when we made our money. So at that point, I kind of looked at, hey, where can I take this? So, I took it into a sales role, and it was pretty cool, because all the guys that I work for in the plants, now I'm going in there calling on them. So they were just like friends. I mean, you're in the sales business, you know how that is.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's connections, and it's, hey, do what you say every single time.
That's right.
You know,
One of the best advice I ever got in the sales business was actually from the owner of my company. And when I started selling paint, he told me, he said, do everything you tell a customer you're going to do.
that's right.
That's the best advice I can give you. And I always did. And I found that it helped.
Yeah. For me, one of my, that's a very good point. And I take that, we're in a service business. So whenever I tell somebody that the job can be done, it's because it has been done.
Yes.
I may not have done it in the last 10 years.
Right.
But I have done it before. And then, you know, our guys now, they do a tremendous job of working safe and, you know, executing those jobs. So when we tell people that, yeah, we can do this, they know they can trust us.
Yes.
I'm 20 years in the business now. I've seen a lot of things, and I have a lot of customers call me for, you know, the free advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And then they go a different route, and then they come back to me, and we'll make money at some point. So it's all relationship business.
I've had that happen too.
Right. So from there, you know, it was I got an opportunity to get in corporate America. You know, really just kind of dive in to see how all that works, and I was able, you know, I grew a lot during that time, but you know, deep down, I was itching to do something on my own.
Sure.
And I always knew that I wanted to be in business doing something.
Yeah.
So at the time, I had an opportunity. This was my wife and I were, and we talk about, you know, I heard Big Mike on here with his wife. And so my wife was very instrumental in me, allowing me to do what I wanted to do.
Right.
So, you know, her work, she was working part-time just with the kids, just trying to, you know, manage that with my schedule. I never knew when I was going to be off.
Right.
So that was tricky. So she worked kind of part-time, and, you know, we going through life, and then we had an opportunity. It was really kind of a intersection. I had, got really frustrated with the whole corporate America, how that operated. And I was just frustrated. I was making good money. Everything seemed to be going good. And then I had an opportunity. A friend of mine's dad owned a produce market in Mandeville.
Yeah.
Richard kept the boss.
Yeah.
So we went to school with his son, Aaron, knew the family. So we had an opportunity to go over there, and he was going to retire in 2 years.
Okay.
And so we had helped him throughout the years, go over there, help him unload stuff. And he had just like a roadside stand, kind of like Southside here.
Yeah.
And he also had a seafood business attached to it.
Okay.
So did crawfish and shrimp, and you know, in that Mandeville area. So he said, "Look," he said, "come over here, man. Check out for a while. Come work, you know, work for me. And when business is good, I'll pay you more. But tell me what you need to make it."
Yeah.
And so I did, and I told him, I said, "This is what I need to pay my bills." And he says, "I'll pay you at least that, and then if there's opportunity, we'll make more money. I'll pay you." And he did. He took care of me. So for 2 years, I got to run with him.
Yeah.
Understand the business. I was his go-to guy.
Sure.
And, you know, we bought crawfish from Troy Landry on Swamp People.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
His brother,
It's a character.
His brother brought us the crawfish, Bubba.
Yeah.
His daddy is the one that convinced Richard to get into the crawfish business.
Wow.
So it's just a long lineage of, you know, those guys, hard workers. Mr. Richard was a hard worker. I came from that same lineage with my family. And, you know, being in the produce and in the crawfish business, you got to be a hard worker. You're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
there's no doubt.
Yeah. So we actually moved. We moved from LaRonger out to a Mandeville area.
Okay.
So, and we went all in and had an opportunity to buy. Me and his son bought half the business, and we took out, man. And
Mandeville blew up.
Whoa, it blew up. Blew up a lot. What really got me away from Mandeville was, at the time, my kids were really small. I didn't realize the impact that the business was having on them.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're in the seafood business or produce business, you're working every day.
Sure.
So it is wide open from can to cane. And if you're not there, somebody's, you know, you're not getting the right product. So, and then they did a road construction project in front of our business. You know how those go, right? It's supposed to be 8 months, and it wound up turning into 24 months. Mm-hmm. So it really destroyed our business. And it's just, hey, it was time for us to part ways.
Yeah.
And so I got out of the seafood business, and then, you know, we'd like sitting around, hey, what we're going to do? Well,
sure.
At the time, we really didn't have an idea what we were going to do.
Yeah.
And we went up to North Louisiana. That's where my wife's from. She's from Rayville.
Okay.
Ran into some her cousin and some of his family, her cousin, husband, family, and hey, let's go to West Monroe. There's a spot over there I want you to look at. I'm like, I just got out of business. I don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
And so we go look at this spot. The guy was trying to get out. He had his sons in business, and he's like, look, take over the material, all the equipment. We'll work out the finances later. And the rent was like, it was like nothing. I was like, that's it. So we started French Market of West Monroe.
Okay.
So don't ask me why, but we did.
Never thought you'd be in that business again?
I didn't really. I was just like, okay, this is like a temporary thing. But what I realized during that time was it was really a God thing to get me in West Monroe.
Yeah.
Because I had always gone to church and I felt like I was a Christian. But during our stint in West Monroe, I got saved.
Yeah.
Like I got thumped in the forehead at church, and everything made sense.
Sure.
And so from the time I got saved, probably about a month later, I sold the business, just walked away from it, said, here's the keys, go turn the steaks, they on the grill. Like literally, my wife walks in coming from the bank. I said, hey, we just sold the business. We out of here. Okay, so we packed up, went to Disney World for about a week.
There you go. What else do you do when you...
So funny story there, I didn't realize that Disney World don't take cash.
Really?
Yeah, so the guy that bought the business from me, he's like, look, here's half the money in cash, and I pay the other half in 3 weeks. I said, sweet, I'll take it. So I took the money, and we take off driving, and we get to Disney. We had made I think we had made reservations, but it was kind of like, tentative or whatever.
Yeah.
And we walked up in there, and it was just like what was the Chevy Chase whenever when he went to California.
On vacation.
Yeah. So like we stayed, my kids got the ears hat on. They're all legit. They're ready to roll. And we're like, hey, we don't take cash. It was like a screeching halt.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, sorry, sir. But anyway, so I called my mom, and she's like, I will kill you if you don't come straight here to pay me. So my mom's credit card paid for the trip, and then came back and gave her the cash.
No cash.
Yeah, so it was hilarious. But anyway, that was a great time. We got back to West Monroe, and I didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, I got this idea. It was a crazy idea, but I sold fruit to gas stations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we made a living. We made a living for 6 months.
That's all
and
right.
I grew that. I had picked up I did one sales pitch, picked up 20 stores instantly.
No kidding.
And I treated it just like a bread route.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that, you talking to people. I met a guy at a barbershop that sold cigarettes, and he hooked me up with a company called U Packet, which was a grocery store chain.
Unbelievable.
I went and did a presentation 3 days later, and 20 of them signed up that day.
You just never know. You never know what this decision is going to lead to decision. Right. It all comes full circle in the end.
It does. And that was something that I talked about the other day. There was a need in that. They needed some fresh fruit in these convenience stores.
Yeah.
Because most of it was just geared around, beer, cigarette, Cokes, chips, candy. And so a lot of those communities up there, those gas stations were like the focal point.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a Walmart.
Right.
Small towns. So anyway, that was pretty cool. I grew that until I couldn't handle it no more by myself.
Yeah.
And I was at a point where I was like, hey, do I stay in this and hire people, or do I just get out?
Yeah.
And along that time, I got offered a job back with Firmenite in Memphis.
Okay. Memphis.
So I go up there. Actually, I didn't even have an email at the time. They sent me the offer letter to my wife's email. Sure. And she called and says, hey, we accepted the job in Memphis. Okay. I was like, what? I didn't even know I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah. But they sent the offer letter and she accepted it. So I went to Memphis.
You went to Memphis. Yeah, you're following orders.
But anyway, it was a good gig. It was great. And that's where buddies really kind of took place.
Yeah. BJ Pawn and Gun has been servicing the Livingston Parish community since 1990. If you need it, there's a good chance BJ Pawn has it. So go see them in Denham Springs. They're a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. So Memphis, obviously known for their barbecue.
Right.
Their
It's
barbecue
everywhere.
and their paint.
That's right. Oh yeah, that's what we hear.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So you end up in Memphis.
Yeah.
Awesome area of the country, especially for barbecue.
Yeah.
And you eventually got on a team there and you
Yeah.
started doing Memphis in May. Tell me about
So that was a really cool event. I didn't know what Memphis in May was. They knew me. I actually called on that area when I was in sales.
Yeah.
And then when I got there, they were all like, "Wait a minute, we know this guy." And so I became one of their go-to guys. But in the meantime, like, hey, I'm cooking some gumbo this weekend. I bring some in Monday.
Right.
So that's how I kind of started. And then they were like, "Hey, we're doing this Memphis in May deal. We want to put you on our team as a cook." I'm like, "Well, hold on a minute. I'm not a big barbecue guy. I know how to cook barbecue, but I ain't trying to compete."
Yeah, you're talking about the biggest barbecue
yeah.
competition in the country.
You're talking about 1,000 barbecue cooking teams.
Yes.
I mean, it was out of control.
Serious barbecue business.
So, I mean, just to be in Memphis, I mean, there's barbecue places in Memphis that are on every corner.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a big deal. So I was like, yeah, cool. So they want me to do like, we had anything but. So anything but pork. So you can do, chicken. You can do, we did, I would bring up shrimp and do barbecue shrimp and just that kind of stuff. So, and really just getting in there and like, it was an eye opener. So the first year I was there, like I just walked around in awe. I was like, what is going on here? It's like Mardi Gras over barbecue.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. It was just a great time. I got to see and learn. The team was kind of established from years ago, and they kind of kept this little team together. And
what was the team name?
Refined Swine.
Great name. Love it.
Yes.
You couldn't ask for a better team name for a barbecue
It was awesome,
team.
man. I had some really good guys. Two of them that I'm still really real close with was Bob Bush and Jason Kobeck. Jason was kind of the backbone. He kept us all in line.
Yeah.
And so we really kind of got together with those guys and dove in there. There's another one, Jim Hardy, Bobby Sullins. There's a couple of guys that came in and out of the group, but it was those two and myself. We kind of really dove into the competition side of it. So, doing those competitions, you got to know what you're doing. You got to know what to expect. We did judging events where we can understand what the judges are looking for.
Right.
It was really serious, and I was like not expecting that. I was more like, I'm here for the good time, but now I was like, whoa, this is like out of control.
Yeah, you're not tailgating at LSU. You're
no, it was good. So, but what we did was all year we would fundraise, and we had some donors. We had Valero sponsored us, and what we would do is we would just cook all year long and try different recipes and temperatures and man, it's like I didn't know you had to cook meat that long for it to be so good. But really, man, I started really thinking about it. If I ever come back home, I said, there's no barbecue in Louisiana. We have a few places that's been there for a long time, but that's kind of where I learned how to do the meat from competition.
right.
And so I tell a lot of people, a lot of time my stuff's competition style. It's not like what you're gonna pull out of your oven or your grandma done or your papa done. It's different.
I can tell you it's good, and me and Casey both ate a bunch of it before this podcast, and it's it's just unbelievable. Your barbecue is awesome, and your story leading up to that is just as awesome. I mean, it's funny that you got trained the right way. Yeah. I mean, like you say, competition barbecue is different.
That's right.
It's and it's consistent. And so you couldn't have asked for a better place to train than Memphis, Tennessee.
That's right.
For barbecue, in my opinion. So you start doing this, and how long were you involved in that team?
So I was there for 5 years.
Okay.
And the last year that we were there was the last year that our team was complete.
Yeah.
Jason actually retired, and we did one last hoorah.
Okay.
And so he's retired, and we just kind of disbanded the band, if you will, at that point. So him and I speak all the time, always talk with Bob. We're always cooking. They're cooking at home. I'm cooking at the store. So
sure,
I'm sure there's a little bit of envious there from them, but it's really cool to talk to people like that understand, the cooking process.
Yeah.
And so the whole other side is the serving process. So funny thing is people don't realize, like, being in the restaurant business, you have to strive for excellence.
Sure.
And you have to be very consistent, and then you need to understand what the need is where you're at.
Yes.
So what are you dealing with, right? So all those kind of pile in together to form your business plan.
Yeah.
So I spent probably, my wife and my kids will tell you that we ate at every barbecue place that you know of for 2 years. And I was in sales, so I had the opportunity to take long road trips and veer off the beating path. And I would go look at businesses, and I would go in there and I would get to talk to the manager. Next thing you know, I'm talking to the owner. Next thing you know, I'm in the kitchen, and I'm trying to understand processes. And I'm trying to say, hey, what does this look like? I mean, I know what the food tastes like, but how did you get here?
Yeah.
And you know, I used the Memphis in May. I mean, we won 3rd place one year. That was a big deal.
Huge.
So people knew that. So when I said, hey, we were fine swine in Memphis, we did Memphis in May, that would lead into a long conversation. And at the end of it, I'd be where I wanted to be, understanding their process.
Yeah.
For me, I wanted to be different. I wanted to be what's going to set me apart.
Yes.
So, and that's kind of where the whole Buddies concept come from. Buddies, of course, is my dad.
Yeah.
Buddy. I tell people all the time, there's 2 reasons that I named the business Buddies. One, it's a legacy for my kids.
Yeah.
Because they didn't get to meet my dad.
Right.
And so my dad's very instrumental in my life. You know, he did a lot of the cooking. My mom, you know, she cooked early on, but toward the end, my dad was cooking all the time.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I saw and understood. And then, you know, so just to honor him and his legacy, and then let my kids understand that they're doing it for somebody else, right?
Yeah.
And then number 2 is if somebody comes in complaining, looking for Buddy, they can't find him.
No.
He's not here. So,
or if you get a sales call or something like that, you know,
people always like, oh, I need to talk to Buddy, please. I'm like, okay, he don't know us.
Yeah.
Because, you know, but anyway, so we kind of had landed on the name early on, but just really wanted to really fix the process and make sure we had this thing where it's really good.
Yeah.
So I mean,
William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance in Denham Springs can service all of your insurance needs. Offering auto, life, health, and commercial insurance, William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance is a proud supporter of Local Leaders, the podcast.
to be honest, my first drawing was I wanted to be in a gas station.
Right.
Because I had success in a gas station. The number of people that go in and out of these gas stations is off the hook. Yeah. So my idea is have a barbecue business that would be in a gas station. We could do a really good lunch, shut down, during off time and crank it back up for supper. Right. And then as we looked around here, it was kind of difficult finding that perfect location. And then we found place in Central, right next to right across the river bridge on Magnolia Bridge Road. And there was a Shell station right next door. So I'm like, hey, this would be a great marriage. It's close enough to the gas station. Right. I'm on the end of a strip center. It'd be great. So the big thing for me I wanted to look clean, refreshing, nice, and I wanted to be able to be able to duplicate it. Right. Because my vision was always to have 2 or 3. Sure. Because I figured one wouldn't be enough. Right. So because I'm in a small space, I really got to do a lot of to-go orders, catering. So I needed to generate more for the volume. So I figured 2 locations or 3 locations, I could probably do that.
Yeah. So you saw this before you ever opened the first.
Oh, yeah.
You were already planning on the third.
I had the third one. Had the third. Had the second one in the second year. It was in my business plan. Yeah. Well, I back up on the business plan. One thing that I did do, and I'll tell everybody that's an entrepreneur, write a business plan. Yeah. Write a mission statement. And present it to your family. Yeah. And if you can't sell them, don't do it. Right. I agree 100%. That is 100. I'm gonna tell you right now, that right there, I did a full blown presentation. I made copies, put it in clear. I gave out everybody one, and I stood in front of my family first. Yeah. Because I said, if I can't sell y'all, I'm not doing this. Yeah, that's right. And you have the support of your family at that point. That's there's nothing worse than having a great idea for a business, going out there, implementing it, and your family not being behind you to support it. Not want to do it because it'll never make it. It's having their support and having their understanding. My wife has been supportive of some crazy ideas of mine. Seriously. Like, she's already going to heaven no matter what happens. Yeah. But having the kids, I can't remember which one it was, but when I got through, they were like, well, how can we say no?
Hey,
So
sold.
at the end of the day, you know, some of my top priorities was, you know, to be a steward of what we receive.
Yeah.
Be a steward of what we have. So if there's people in need, we try to take care of them. We try to work with several churches, and that was in my business plan. That's not something we just came up with.
Yeah.
But back to the store, it was a very aggressive, a second store within my first year, really.
Right.
And then a third store within the 5 years.
Wow.
And so that was kind of our plan anyway. We wanted to have a second store close enough because we figured we can cook enough at one store to supply another store.
Sure. Yeah.
And so there came our motto has always been, how do we get people in and out of the store quickly?
Right.
You know, fast food setting, but be over the top with the quality of food.
And I would imagine, especially in your business, you know, a restaurant business in particular, I could imagine myself kind of stressing over location. Mm-hmm. You know, once you commit, you're committed, right? Yeah. Whether it works or not, that's your building for however long that lease is. Take me through that process. Was it a stress for you?
It was very stressful. I will tell you that I originally looked in Livingston Parish first. I wanted to come to I wanted to open my first store in Livingston.
Yeah.
It just didn't connect up. We couldn't get on the same page.
Sure.
And I tell people all the time, I had some struggles in Livingston.
Yeah.
At where you go apply for stuff, because I was green on that side. Like, what do I need?
Sure.
I went to Central. They had a little booklet and they gave me, said, here, get all this in line and come back and see us. We'll give you a permit.
Yeah.
I was like, sweet. So it kind of stepped me through who I need to talk to, whatever. I chose Central mainly because there was a need there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the time, you know, it was after the flood.
Yeah.
I knew that the market had adjusted down a little bit, so I was able to find a place to rent reasonable. And then what I did not know at the time is that location, what you said earlier, was very critical.
Yeah.
So the location where I was at is a great location, but it was a little bit of a challenge to get in and out of. Mm-hmm. And it was known for Chris's specialty meat. Yeah. Which had closed 2 years prior to me opening. So it had been closed for 2 years, but in everybody's mind, it will always be Chris's old building.
Right.
And so for that, I could not believe that after 2 years, that's all people realized it was. That's how they would tell. Now, where are you located at? I'm like, I'm next to the Shell station. Oh, the old Chris's spot. So that location, he did a great job. He was one of the first ones in there. He had a good brand, good marketing. You know, he had a good product.
Sure.
But I think that location just got him.
Yeah.
And, you know, that location is struggling now, and I'll get to that part in a minute. But we went there, and, you know, Central opened the arms up. We went in. Most of my people were in Denham.
Yeah.
They come across the bridge and
supported
me. And then we immediately, as soon as we got things the processes in place, and we got systems, and, you know, I started connecting up with some really good employees. I realized that, hey, now I can look at a second location. Yeah. And then I mind you that I'm doing all this while I'm still working in oil and gas.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I'd be there early in the morning, and then I'm out during the day, and I let my employees serve the food upon my direction, and then I come back in the evening and cook meat.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
And so that was my main thing, is to be able to have, you know, really good quality food, but being a quick service, getting in and out. Sure. So our ticket times we're way better than most fast food places. I tell people all the time.
And it's barbecue.
Right.
You never think.
So here's the thing. Our meat is cooked. I mean, we cook chicken in the morning. Sometimes we cook another load in the evening. We cook sausage in the morning. If you order a sausage plate, I'm not going to cook it.
Yeah.
It's in a hot box. We've already smoked it. We're keeping it the right temperature, and we serve it. Briskets cook overnight. It's ready to be sliced.
And I can't tell you how good it is, man.
The brisket is by far the best meat that we have. It's all good, but as far as me, it's the quality, because I got a really good quality of brisket that I use. So it's very important. So, but anyway, and then you can't hardly get it anywhere else like that. So that's one thing I tell people.
I agree.
So our thing was working through processes, and then, you know, finding the right employees. That's another challenge, right? Because
huge.
And I've been blessed. I'm telling you right now, I'll tell anybody that I've if it's not for my employees, I'm not doing this. We're not talking.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't quit my job to do barbecue.
Right.
Now, I plan on at some point being able to do that. But right now we're building this thing.
Sure.
Right? We're 3 years in all together with buddies. You know, most businesses fail within 5 years. So
That's right.
We're trying to get to this hump, right? But my employees, man, they hit it and they take pride in what they're doing.
Yeah.
So whatever I do affects them. Whatever they do affects me.
That's right.
And so if you can get those employees that buy in to who you are,
yes,
they got to buy into it. And so I sell myself to them first. You know, we're God, family, then maybe buddies.
Yeah.
But if you got issues with your family, we'll work around those things. If I got to close down because somebody misses work, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
If it's a legitimate reason.
Yeah.
It's part of it, you know. And so having those employees, my family helped, a lot of my friends helped to get us up off the ground and be brutally honest with people. I tell people all the time, everybody's not going to like my product, but tell me what you think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with that. I take criticism as well as I take somebody telling me your food was great.
Sure.
I don't expect you to always say that, oh, I don't love your sauce. Well, you might not, but why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I like mine a little more spicy. Okay, we're not a spicy sauce, but we got a little tang, we got a little bite to it. It's all good. But don't go out there and be negative on some social media platform that doesn't get anything done.
Yeah. I mean, everybody, different strokes for different folks.
That's right.
And I know people that love a certain type of sauce, and some people it's too spicy for them or whatever. Yeah. Yours is unbelievably good, but you never want to destroy people on a social media site or anything like that because of your taste. Yeah. I mean, that's
the thing. I mean, it is your taste.
Yeah.
If you get bad service, the same thing. Come to me and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
My employees don't want to do bad.
No, you have great employees.
They need to work and provide for their family, just as I am.
That's right.
I'm not putting people in there that don't need to be working in the front or in the back. And I always tell people, I got a friend of mine, he don't like my sauce. Yeah. And he brings his sauce with him. Bring your sauce. Yeah. You don't hurt my feelings. Yeah. Just don't leave it.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't leave it.
But at the end of the day, a lot of restaurants get the bad rap for one person having a bad experience.
Sure.
I had somebody call the store Saturday. They had a bad experience with some ribs. Yeah. And I'm trying to fix it. And he didn't want nothing of it. Yeah. And sometimes you got to part ways with customers.
That's right.
I can't make you come back and give me a second shot. But all I can tell you is I apologize, and I will make it right. Yeah. And I think most restaurants that are owned, locally, they'll do the same thing. I don't have a doubt in my mind that they're there to do it right.
I agree 100%. And, it's interesting that I say this a lot, but when you get good service, people don't compliment it enough. When you get bad service, they tell everybody they know. Mm-hmm. And it really, you need at least a 50-50 there. Yeah. And so I try to go out of my way to talk about positive experiences on Facebook and places like that because not many people do.
That's right. It is, and it's such a bad rap. I mean, people don't realize that when somebody pulls off the interstate at Denham Springs, where are they going? Yeah. They're going to Yelp. They're going to Google. And they'll just ride on down the road and say, well, there ain't no place good here to eat. And then they go somewhere else. And what does that mean for us locally? Right. Our tax dollars are going somewhere else.
Yep. Which we don't want.
Don't want. We're trying to bring folks here, and we want to share the experience. You're not going to want to eat barbecue every day. I don't expect you to. There's Mexican restaurants. There's Big Mike's. There's seafood restaurants. There's all sorts of restaurants here you can eat at. Yes. But if we continue to bash each other and, blow it out of the water, it's just unnecessary.
I agree. So
we've done our best to stay off of social media. Yeah. I tell all my employees, don't engage. Yeah. That's one of the first things when I hire somebody. If you're going to go on social media to offend or defend me, I don't want you in my business.
Well, it's interesting. Farrell Calhoun Payne actually had a company that came in and kind of educated them on social media stuff. Mm-hmm. And one of the things they did say was when someone says something negative, just let them know you want to fix the problem.
Yeah, that's right.
That's it. Because things happen. We're in the service business, all of us. And you're not going to be able to please 100% of the people 100% of the time.
That's right.
So that's the greatest way to handle it is to not engage, especially in a negative way. Yeah. Let me go on there and say, Buddies is great.
That's right. Well, I really to get started with the whole Buddies thing, we was like, keep it simple.
Yeah.
Stupid. We just want to keep it simple. We want to do good barbecue, stay in our lane. We'll grow this thing as it grows. And it's the same thing with when people, come in, we want them to experience what they came for.
Right.
And if you don't get that experience, just let us know. We'll fix it.
Yeah.
Every one of my employees have great pride in what they do. I have tremendous pride in what I do.
Sure.
And whenever I'm cooking for, try to please everybody.
Absolutely.
And so that cross the board way, so.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we ran in Central for a year, and then we had opportunity to come to Denham. Things lined up. We got right in the center of Denham. And then we really wanted a drive-through. So that was one of the big things we wanted. Spot was available. There again, I had some branding issues there, but I was next to Little Caesars and then Walgreens. So tremendous amount of traffic.
Sure.
So, put the signs out. And then, so I'm getting overflow of people sitting there waiting in the drive-through at Walgreens or waiting for pizza. They're looking at my logo.
Yeah.
So I'm front and center. And then it was just a chance.
And a great logo it is.
Yeah, that's right.
I like it.
Thank you. But anyway, it was something I wanted to do where I would be like, being in the central of the city. I felt like in Central, I was kind of on the outside.
Yeah.
Central's kind of spread out a little bit different than most cities. So I was kind of outside. So I'd get people going home.
Sure.
Right? And then I would get people, they'd have to drive 10 or 15 minutes for lunch to get to me.
Yeah.
So here I wanted to be right in the middle. And so there's so much traffic. There's people coming from Live Oak, from Walker, from Baton Rouge, coming into Denham. So we're in a hot spot. And then having the drive-through with COVID has been a godsend. Like if I wouldn't have had the drive-through, I would be shut down, just like I had to shut down my business in Central.
Yeah.
Being in these strip centers, I can only get so many people in anyway, pre-COVID, and then post-COVID. If I get one person in, I can't get anybody else in the building.
Right.
So it really crippled me.
It did. And as an industry, the food industry really, really hampered. And one point I want to impress is when you came to Livingston Parish, you came to Denham Springs, you invested. You invested in this community.
Exactly.
That's what I want listeners of this show, but really anyone in general to think. When you see a business owner, these people invested money.
Yeah.
And so personally, I feel a responsibility to support that where I can. And I, one of the things I'm trying to get across with this podcast is how important it is to support business owners that are local. You put your money up, let's put our money up.
That's right.
That kind of thing.
And also there's a continual investment.
Mm-hmm.
There's a continual investment each and every month, each and every year that local businesses do into the community.
Yes.
I always tell people that, our money gets redistributed back into the community here. Right. All of my employees live here.
Yes.
So when I pay them, which by the way, that's my most, I take the most pride in that at the end of the year. I look at the W-2s and see how much money I paid to them.
Yeah.
Because it's impactful.
Yeah.
Because at the end, a lot of times you look at your checking account, you're like, man, I didn't make a bunch of money this month, or I didn't make any money this month, or I lost money.
Yeah.
But I was able to write checks to 12 employees.
Huge.
Right? It's big time.
Yeah.
And so for me, I know that those employees, they're not going to Baton Rouge spending money.
Yeah.
They're spending money right here.
Yes.
I know what they do. A lot of them stay in their zone, stay in their lane, and they're feeding back. So like all the local businesses, not only are they paying their employees, but they're spending their money here locally.
That's right.
I mean, I love Baton Rouge. I go to Baton Rouge, and, I patronize that too. But most of the time, I'm spending the money right here.
Yeah.
I mean, period.
I don't want to go too far from home. We got
everything you need. I mean, so I don't need to go. Now, I travel some with my oil and gas business, but, that's just part of it.
Sure.
So the investment is big, and, it's also investment of time.
Yeah.
People don't realize the amount of time that we invest. A lot of us, I could be laying at the house on a couch just chilling.
Yeah.
But that time is spent diving into this community and how do we do things better? And what can we do? Witnessing the people, letting people understand why you're here, what you're doing.
That's
and then being able to be that beacon, be the business that that you want to be.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And Tiffany C-Card with HomeKey Mortgage combines the experience and knowledge you need to make your mortgage loan a smooth, stress-free process. Reach out to Tiffany for more information on the vast mortgage programs available in the Livingston Parish area. Tiffany C-Card of HomeKey Mortgage, a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. We led into this point, which was COVID, how it hit the restaurant industry extremely hard. And you were fortunate that you did have a drive-through. There were some restaurants in things like that. They didn't even they had nowhere where you could sit outside.
Right.
And of course, all our hearts go out for them.
Yeah.
You being a restaurant owner doesn't put you in competition against other restaurants. No. Y'all support each other.
No doubt.
You don't eat barbecue 24 hours a day, I'm sure.
No.
So we do want to support all our restaurants, and Buddy's Barbecue, I can tell everybody out there that's listening, I eat it all the time. Love it. Great. But the service is a big part of it too. I go in there, they're smiling, they're nice. I'm helped quickly, all those sorts of things. But with COVID, when that first hit, I mean, take me back to that. But I'm sure it was a bunch of confusion. What can I do? What can I do?
For me, it was disbelief.
Yeah.
Like
I would imagine.
So from both fronts, my oil and gas industry, where, I'm employed.
Yeah.
Big company out of Houston. I went through a transition where the company I was working for was out of Montana, and then we went to work for another company during COVID, unheard of.
Yeah.
But they seen value in the guys that we had working for us, our employees.
Yeah.
And here we got the couple $100 million company that's oil and gas is flat.
Yeah.
Because guess what? When nobody's traveling and those planes are on the ground, they don't need jet fuel. Mm-mm. And when there ain't nowhere to sell it, it just sits there.
Yeah.
So the market plummeted. From the restaurant side, I was in disbelief that we could be told in a matter of 24 hours how many people can come in your store. So for me, I purposely have a small footprint. Mm-hmm. I know how many cars I got to put through the drive-through and in the front of that building in order to pay the rent.
Sure.
Okay. These bigger restaurants, they need to fill those tables up.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I mean, there's restaurants right here, Maria's, Big Mike's, Don's, Duke's. They got those big seating areas. They're paying for square footage.
Yes.
So I was in disbelief, and I was like, there was so much confusion on what we could do and what we couldn't do. So first and foremost, I grabbed everybody together, and it was kind of like, hey, I have an all hands on meeting. And I said, first of all, you need to protect your family. And if this is not someplace you need to be and you need to be home quarantining or following the governor's order, as far as that goes, go.
Yeah. I
said, if you have sick parents, if you're sickly, don't be here.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of them said, hey, I can't. I said, 10-4. You won't be held against you. You just go, we'll make do.
Yeah.
And then we kind of consolidated the groups and said, hey, this is what we're looking at. We got this many people. We're going to run just the drive-through, so it makes a little bit easier to deal with, just the window. And
look, in those early stages, Mickey, none of us knew how serious this was or was not. I mean, we're going by what we're hearing from, our leaders, the governor, the president, and all these people. And we had no idea. I mean, from any perspective, how and that's open for debate now, one way or the other. And it's whatever everybody thinks is what they think.
That's our story, right?
Yeah. Okay, Mickey. So you basically, the people that needed the unemployment, they had access to it.
They had access to it, right?
Very
from
good.
The benefits that we paid in. So very fortunate there for their families and their time. And even some of these employees that were just nervous. They were scared of what was going on, right?
Sure.
So I mean, with good reason. I mean,
absolutely.
At the time, we didn't know how serious it was, but we knew that something wasn't right. So for me, the oil and gas was basically shut down.
Yes.
Nobody wanted us in. So I was in sales. I am not essential unless there's a panic button pressed and then I got to go on site. They would give me clearance.
Yeah.
So I was able to dive in, had the kids available. Kind of like, Big Mike mentioned, I mean, as far as the cleaning of the bit, we already did that.
So
for us, it wasn't like we got to go out and buy a new product.
Right. Yeah, you already disinfected.
We were on that. So, but the other thing was, it was a challenging. I remember the first 2 weeks we were down. I'm like, ruh-oh, because nobody knew what was going on.
Right.
And so
it was changing almost daily.
It was changing daily. And so basically our business plummeted.
Yeah.
I mean, to where I was like, I was starting to make phone calls like, hey, what are y'all doing? What's going on? Started talking to other business owners.
And one thing we did at Farrell Calhoun Payne is we must have ate Buddy's barbecue every day for a month. One thing we were fortunate about was we were considered essential, so we were able to remain open, though we were doing basically drive-through only.
That's right. Call ahead.
Yeah, call ahead. We'll bring it to your car. Great service in the paint business. You can't ask for better. But every day for lunch, what do you want from Buddy's?
Yeah.
What do you want from Buddy's? And it was close and it was quick.
Quick, yeah. So for us, we felt what we normally feel around the holidays is people go out and buy up.
Yeah.
So,
toilet paper.
Everything was bought up. So when they got tired of eating their own cooking, that's whenever we shifted gears. Yeah. And so COVID for us, that's whenever our business started climbing back up out of the gutter, if you will.
Right.
And so we had a lot of good things going on in 2020. And this was early in 2020.
Yeah.
And we were looking at a third location.
Wow.
I actually made an offer on a third location in Gonzales.
Okay.
And it just didn't work out. Good thing it didn't, because I'd have been on the hook.
Yeah.
And I'd have took the money that I had saved and invested it.
Yeah.
So then I had that money to play with, so I was able to hold on to it.
Very good.
And so for us, that got me through the 2.5 weeks of paying my employees, paying for the food, keeping the lights on, and then once everybody kind of adjusted, in the community, and figured out where they can go, so we became the drive-through. Everybody else, that other businesses that didn't have a drive-through, they were like dead in the water. Yeah. Because doing the drive-through business, it's a science. It's not like you can just go put anything in a box.
Yeah.
Because you have to have it at the right temperature to put in the box.
Right.
And for me, barbecue easily goes in a box.
Sure.
I mean, that was one of my very first things is to understand that, can I put this in a to-go box?
Yeah.
And it be good 30 minutes down the road.
Right.
So that's our goal. We want it to be good when you come in there, but we also want it to be good in 30 minutes. So that was always kind of our thing, to figure that out. So with the COVID, I had people blowing me up, are y'all open? What's going on? People were nervous. They wanted to see what was happening, right?
Sure.
And so fortunately for us, we was in the center of town. We was able to advertise some. The Walgreens was open.
Yeah.
Little Caesars was open, and the roads were open. So people saw what we were doing. And then we had a few friends of ours reach out through Facebook. It was like, hey, come to our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And at first I kind of steered away from that. I'm like, wait a minute, what is this all about? But then I realized, like, hey, people are really staying in their neighborhoods.
Sure. Yeah.
So we took the catering trailer and we loaded up in the evenings, and we would go post up like other restaurants did in this area.
Yeah.
And it was kind of an organized deal through some of these Facebook groups. And
it was a great thing. And I saw it
really
with several
was.
different restaurants. They would have, it was almost like food trucks right in front of neighborhoods, and made it convenient for those people, and made, kept you in business.
And I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be opposed to doing it, in the spring. Yep.
Dane Arnold with iTrade Exchange has been enabling small business in the Livingston Parish area to save cash through his network of over 300 participating Livingston Parish businesses. Saving cash by trading services with other exchange members is what iTrade Exchange is all about. For more information, contact Dane Arnold at 225-205-3640 or visit iTradeExchange.biz. Yeah.
In the dead of the summer, it got kind of tough, but in the springtime, it's great to go do things like that.
Yeah.
So I'll say this: if you invite me in, I will come.
Yeah.
I mean, it was good for us. And
so you got the setup.
Yeah, I got the setup for that. Excellent. I can go on the road. I can't meet the criteria to be a food truck, But if it's a catering event, I can.
Yeah,
nail
that's
it.
what I was going to ask you. So, say you had an event where, okay, we'll use me for example. I've got a big company that I sell paint coatings to,
Right.
and I want to, they got 50 employees, and I want to go ahead and treat them to, hey, we're gonna get a catering truck out there to serve y'all today for lunch.
Yeah.
You do that?
Not a problem. Yeah.
Excellent.
So we'll show up, we'll have everything going. I have a fryer. I have grill. I have, pots to do jambalaya, pastelize and whatnot, or gumbos. And I also have a smoker on my trailer. So it's like the best of all worlds.
Oh, yeah.
So we can get it done. So
Perfect.
So yeah, so that's, that's kind of, when we first started, it was like, man, you got to get in there and improvise, do things different and understand the market changed.
Yeah.
And then also on the other side, understand that the vendors that you dealt with changed.
Yeah.
So people don't realize how quickly COVID affected the meat market.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody went out and bought meat, put it in the freezer. So you think about this for a second. If every family goes out and buys $400 worth of meat and puts it in the freezer,
Yeah.
it reverses the market.
Sure.
So they're out. Then it's a timeline.
Yeah.
thing.
It was like the toilet paper. You
Exactly.
remember
It
that?
takes time to make it.
Yeah.
The cows have to eat to grow to get to a certain size. And then what happened was, that's why I say the reverse market, after everybody done that, they stocked up and then nobody bought.
Yes.
And so
Yeah. It's interesting. Just to kind of piggyback off of that, I had, gallon cans, empty gallon cans, are hard to get right now. So hard, in fact, that it's putting a strain on the paint business. Like, and eventually they're going to run, hopefully they'll never run out of empty gallon cans. You would never think that'd be an issue. But what happened was these people were all at home for 2 months, 3 months. So what did everybody do? Well, and I love it. I'm not complaining, but let's repaint the house. Let's do all these things we never had time to do.
remodel.
They bought so many daggum paint cans that nobody saw it coming, because you plan for this stuff 6 months in advance,
Or
a year in advance. So nobody had new paint cans made, and it created a shortage. And there's a major shortage of metal cans right now.
That's
Go
incredible.
figure.
Yeah.
So it drives the price up, not of our paint, of course, but some people's it drives the price up, and all those sorts of things. So you're right. It puts a strain on the market that you don't even see just from a supply standpoint.
Supply demand. And then, and then the beef market shot through the roof.
Yeah.
And it's really hadn't come down. I mean, it come down some, but go buy a steak in the store right now.
Yeah. Well, it's hard once from a beef supplier standpoint, once they're getting a certain amount of money, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck
Well,
them dropping the price.
Crawfish. I mean, that's the old crawfish motto. But it was crazy times. We would order stuff and then the truck would show up and like nothing was there. We'd have half of our inventory show up. So we had to improvise. A lot of people were understanding. They knew what was going on, but it was a challenge. It was a big. We had to adjust what we were doing and how we did it.
Yeah.
And it was pandemonium. So after about a month or so of this up and down world, we finally levelized.
Yeah.
And then our business really started kind of planing off. So in the upward motion. So I say that more people were getting out.
Yeah.
There was more money brought into the economy, whether it be from the check they got or unemployment. Yeah. People started getting back to work. So things started kind of happening, and, then we go into phase 2, so all that kind of relaxed things up.
Absolutely.
My employees that were out came back, they felt that they could manage it. We encouraged the mask, we tried to, comply with all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, man, we just
doing the best you can do.
That's all we can do, man. We got down there and do it,
Yeah, and it's important to mention, if any business owner needed a reason to I don't know if I'd say follow the rules of business owning, but they always say you want at least 3 months of expenses in an account that you don't touch, and that way, no matter what happens, you could not make a penny for 3 months and you have a little nest egg there.
Right, yeah.
And just a little safety account. And if anybody needed a reason to do that, here's a good reason to point at it. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Because something like a COVID can happen. And if you don't have any money anywhere, you will go out of business that quick.
Cash.
And I mean it's tough.
Even in your personal life, you know, we try to do that, but you know, a lot of things come up with people, but it really is. And for me, the big impact from me with the whole COVID is just knowing how many restaurants won't come back.
Yeah.
I mean, we see the ones that are around here that may or may not come back. Go to New Orleans. Go to Kenner.
New Orleans
I've been
still
at
hurting,
Laplace.
man.
Go to Norco. Some of these places, they're not coming back.
No.
And it's like, you know, it's like businesses have been there 25, 30 years, but they can't take this hit, and they can't take it. Just
And their biggest days. We'll use New Orleans for an example. That, you know, Mardi Gras. This is where they make their money for the whole year.
That's right.
And
Crawfish
so when you
season,
don't have
oyster season.
yes,
Yeah.
you don't have those sorts of things. You don't have a big season anymore.
right.
You're just like, you're dead.
And
You're
so
dead in
the
water.
trickle down of that is too, you know, we fish out of Shell Beach. I mean, those guys, they're only catching so much.
Yeah.
Oysters, they leaving them.
Yeah.
Because they got nowhere to put them.
Got nowhere to put
Nowhere
them.
to go with it. So
That's just insane. Now
it really was. That was very interesting.
Yeah.
It still is.
Yeah. Every day.
Yeah, right.
Every day. But we're coming out on the, you know, it seems like we're holding our own here, and we're supporting businesses, and
No doubt.
and that's what it's all about. Now, you mentioned your children earlier, and I want to talk about that a little more. You talked about how they're involved in the business a little bit. So what role do your children play in the business, and how important do you think the lessons are that they're learning now will benefit them later on?
Yeah, so that's another. I told somebody the other day that if Buddy's closed tomorrow,
Yeah.
the growth that I've seen within my children was worth it.
Yeah.
Because I honestly feel like that if I left for 2 weeks, the Buddies wouldn't close. My daughter can run the business. My son can run the business. When I say that, they know what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And they can do it.
Awesome.
So, you know, they can work the front, they can work the back. They understand where the food comes from.
Sure.
It has truly been it has been something to see. With my son's growth, my daughter, a lot like me.
Yeah.
So she's good with people. Her first job was at Carter's.
Yeah.
And if she was on
My
there,
son works at Carter's. His first job,
Yeah.
you know, he just got a
when
few months ago.
when she went there, she only worked for 6 months before we opened Buddies, but
Yeah.
it was a good time for her to see and talk and interact with people. And people don't realize that is a long-lasting impression
Yes.
on people dealing with the public, customer service. So my daughter fell right in to waiting on people
Sure.
and dealing with people, trying to please each person, trying to understand what this person wants, what this person needs, what we're trying to give them. Now, my son, on the other hand, he was way more shy.
Yeah.
So he was one that would like not talk to nobody. He would
Yeah.
go hide. I'm not say hide in the back, but he would like avoid the front.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I know. I got one like
yeah,
that.
and so it's like I'm like, you know, you got to get out of this, but you know, he could handle the meat. So his thing was, hey, I could trim the brisket, I can cook the brisket, we can inject the pork, I can get all this stuff on the grill. I'll do all this back here. Don't make me go up front.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's like, you know, 13 years old slicing brisket in the back.
Go ahead.
It was great. I mean, so it just seeing that, him understanding what a plate is supposed to look like, how it's supposed to be done, and then watching the processes. This is how we make a pulled pork sandwich.
Yeah.
This is our way of doing it. And nobody else does it like this.
Yeah.
This is how we do a brisket plate. This is how we do sausage. And so all of that is just, man, it was like, it's been incredible. And I think you can ask my wife and my mom the same way, is seeing that growth in them. I mean, now my son, you know, when he goes in places, he's talking to people. He's out there, and it's just changed. It's changed him as he grew up in the business, and then the amount of pride they take into it.
Yes.
You know, having those responsibilities. Believe it or not, I mean, they fought it at first because they're like, we could be doing X, Y, and Z, but we got to go to Buddies.
Yeah.
Because I mean, early on, it was, hey, y'all working Saturday all day.
Yeah.
And then when you get
It was
out of
like
school,
real life.
Yeah, when you get out of school, you come into the store.
Yeah.
Into, you know, now, you know, her in college, she's my fill-in person.
Yeah.
So if somebody don't show up, I'm like, hey, I need you to come to Buddies.
Yeah.
You know, Carson's in school, so when he gets out, if I need him, you know, he comes. I mean, they're just there for fill-in because now I've kind of got setting schedules, and we try to plug and play where they go, but they can step in at any minute.
It's a true family-owned business.
It really is.
It not?
Yeah, no doubt. So for that, it's just having them experience this. And I've had my daughter tell me, thank you.
Huge.
She's told me thank you before, and thank you for making me come to Buddy's and see how the business is run and see how impactful that is, you know, to her life.
Yeah.
You know, having to go work for something
Yeah.
and understand where that comes from, right? And then starting a business, understanding the community part of it, understanding giving back.
Yeah.
You know, that's
It's
in
a
my
huge part of it,
That's
isn't
in
it?
my mission statement.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to give back. We want to give back to the community. We want to give back to groups and people. And we've been very, you know, we stayed to that. And that's something that I think they'll take with them forever and understand that, you know, it's not all about us.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, when we sat down on our first meeting, you know, you said a couple things that resonated with me. One was you said, find what the public is missing and fill the void.
Yeah.
So, which I think business people pay attention, you know, to that. That's very important. But second, you said, find what a community is missing and fill that void too.
Right.
So what that told me was you like to give back to the community for any success you may have had in your business. Right. And I thought these were very important points that were worth mentioning because it is about the other side of business, which is giving back more of yourself.
Right.
I try to do that. As I grew older, I realized how important that was. I was probably a little bit selfish in my younger days. I wanted to take. I wanted that money, right? I wanted to work and get that money, but I wasn't giving back where I should. And as I got older, I started joining some organizations, really giving a lot of my time, which is our most valuable asset. We don't get that back, Mickey.
Nope.
And so I respect that.
Yeah.
That's a very good side of you that people need to see and hear. But you're also a man of faith.
Yeah.
And you have Ephesians 4:1. Tell me about that.
So it was basically walk in the manner that you're called.
Yeah.
And everybody is called to walk, you know, in some manner.
Sure.
And I take that, you know, if you go on down in Ephesians 4, it talks about love. Love one another.
Yeah.
And so for me, the whole Ephesians 4 is that. But I really want people to understand when they see me, I'm someone of integrity, you know, and I'm first and foremost, I'm God, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And then it all work itself out. You know, when I was saved, I felt like I could take my hands off the steering wheel.
Yeah.
So my first business venture, I did it all wrong.
Yeah.
I'll be the first to tell you.
Sure.
I'm holding the steering wheel so tight, and then I got a partner. He's holding the steering wheel. We're holding the same steering wheel, and it just doesn't work.
That's a great analogy to
I
that.
mean, if you think about it, when I let my hands go, when I got saved,
Yeah.
and I let God drive this boat, things become clear.
Yeah.
I sold bananas for a living after I was saved. Yeah. People don't believe me, but you can ask my wife. We did just fine.
Yeah. And selling bananas.
I sold bananas. And I'd be at Walmart at 4:00 in the morning going through their bananas, picking the one, because I wanted a certain size banana.
Yeah.
Because if somebody's going to pay 69 cents for a banana, I want it to be worth it to them.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's what they needed up there. They needed some fruit in their life.
Yeah.
And they didn't have it.
That's right. That's right. I love it.
So anyway.
You know, but it really does speak to one thing I've noticed during this whole conversation is everything you've done. And you've done some stuff. Yeah. I mean, you've had a life,
I've
man.
left out a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe for another conversation.
Yeah, maybe so. But all of those things you've done, I can only imagine when you were a young kid that Buddy, the real Buddy, he instilled these things, right?
No doubt.
So,
well, that and my mom, who's still living today, Pat, she'll be the first to correct me.
Yeah.
She'll be the first to call me and tell me, you hadn't called me today. Why didn't you answer my text?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah.
You know, if I'm traveling.
Sounds like my wife.
I'm leaving here today, and I'm going to North Louisiana into El Dorado, Arkansas.
Yeah.
And she'll be like, you know, watch your speed limit. I mean, she's, you know, their speed traps.
It's a mother's love, isn't it?
So, but yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, knowing that and like,
no one will love you like your mama does.
I can still remember my mama's daddy. You know, his thing was, you know, everybody was good people.
Right.
And for that, I try to look at that everybody is good people.
Everybody. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, deep down, I mean, really.
I seen the best of it, you know, after the flood of 2016. I seen people you would never think had good in them. And it didn't matter who you are. We were all in the same boat, figuratively and otherwise. Yeah. And so it brought out the best in people and changed me for the rest of my life. I was a different person because of it in positive ways.
I agree too.
Sure.
Myself included. We dove right in and we went at it out of my driveway cooking.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, we didn't know who we were going to feed, but we know we were feeding somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
interesting. And we talk about giving back, but I was one of those people like everybody else got trapped in this, didn't see all this coming. And I had a family with 3 kids and a wife, no house, no cars, no nothing, all underwater. And it was amazing. The first, when the water receded, the first truck that came down that road was just a guy. He looked like he might've been a painter or construction guy of some sort. And he would stop and he would go in the back of his truck and he would just start throwing toilet paper, bags of toilet paper. And you would not believe how important that was. Yes. I had none. Yeah. None, no toilet paper. And it sounds funny, but it was a godsend. Yeah. It was just like, this is what I needed.
Where does that come from?
Yeah, something as simple as toilet paper. So many instances of that.
I had I don't know how. There's an article about what we did, our little group. It's in a magazine somewhere, and I think in Alabama. I have to get it to you. But there was a lady came, and she spent a couple of days with our group. We were connected with a couple of churches, just going out serving. And same thing with her. She was like, it was unbelievable to see the things that you don't consider important. Yeah. That are very important. No doubt. We went into a neighborhood one time, and we made lunches every day, and we made suppers every day. We would bring it to the church and then give it out. Sure. But on the way, we would stop and just give out to some of the neighborhoods, right? Yeah. And I think she was with my wife, but my wife was making delivery, and this guy got a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and it's like that would bring people to tears. Yeah. But you don't realize that they ain't got to go look for bread. They ain't got to go buy no peanut butter and jelly, and then like a year later, that lady runs into my wife. It's like, oh, it was the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich I ever had. Yeah. And I'm like, what about the spaghetti? I cooked it. I had a great spaghetti. Don't forget about mine. Yeah. but at the end of the day, you're right. I mean, it's the things that you don't think of, man. And I early on, we had, I got to put this in there. So early on, we decided, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to go wide open and start cooking. Yeah. So I went hooked up with Dave's Smokehouse. I'm like, hey, can you get some food in here? Yeah. I said, I'm going to pay for it. Just order. I need somebody for the food to be dropped. Yeah. So I ordered, I don't know, 40 butts, whatever. And it was like $700. Yeah. And so I go back home and everybody's around there. We just running around. We had food donated that we were cooking. Mm-hmm. This was our first big purchase. Sure. And so I was like, hey, look, we just ordered the pork and it's like $600 or $700, whatever it was. Yeah. I said, we don't have the money. Yeah. So we need to pray. Yeah. And so we all huddled up right there, right next to my smoker, and we prayed. And I'm telling you, within an hour, I got a phone call from where I lived in North Mississippi when I was in Memphis. Yeah. From my pastor. They done raised $2,500. The power of prayer. Unbelievable. And so, boom, it was there. And then we multiplied that. And then we cooked for 2 or 3 weeks straight. Yeah. And somebody said, when is it going to be over? I said, when we're finished. Yeah.
Black Sheep Creative understands the importance of digital marketing and your return on your investment. It's their aim to provide professional web and graphic design services at a price point that smaller businesses and startups can afford. Get in touch with them on the web at blacksheepcreative.com.
That's it. Because everybody was, we were just wide open doing that. So
sure. Now, you're a member of an organization. Tell me about that.
So it's called Industry of Faith. Okay. It's something that a really good friend of mine, Dan Vallow, started, and him and I were going back and forth on it. He was having some spiritual warfare going on. Really, the organization was started to help people connect for looking for jobs. Yeah. And Dan happened to be in a rough spot of his career where he had got let go because of an economic downturn. And he said, look, he said, I think God's telling me to do this.
Yeah.
He said, but I told God that he needs to find somebody else because it's not me.
Right.
Fast forward, he gets a job. Fast forward 6 months later, he finds himself in the same situation.
Yeah.
God spoke to him again. He called me up. He said, hey, I'm going to do this, and I want you to be, my whatever. I want you to walk alongside with me.
Sure.
So I'm on the board. Dan kind of leads it. But what we try to do is we try to meet once a month. We try to draw in people from the oil and gas industry.
Mm.
So it's kind of a networking. And we also have where we present a word to them.
Sure.
So we have a guest speaker. Some of them are pastors. Some of them are just, bivocational. Some people work in the industry and they have a message to give. We're able to share the word and we're able to use God's name in our oil and gas industry. Sometimes it's not always used in there. So with that, one of the things was we have a job fair every year.
Yeah.
So that's our big deal, was to have this job fair to bring people in. So one of the things is for us to have this job fair.
Yeah.
And we would bring companies together in one spot, let people come and apply for work. Because if you're looking for a job, you need some boost.
Absolutely.
And then at the same time, we can share the word with them, right? And so we're on our third year. We've had 2 very successful job fairs. We have it down in the Gonzales area at the tech school.
Yeah.
We're actually looking to do a golf tournament as a fundraiser.
Wow. Okay.
And so we're going to do that probably in March. We're trying to nail that down just to kind of raise some funds where we can do things with that money, right? So we fed 30 families for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
25 or 30. Basically, we gave them smoked turkey from Buddy's.
Yeah.
And then we gave them a gift card for $75. And then we took 3 families or 4 families and we sponsored them, 3 or 4 families, we sponsored them for Christmas.
Yeah.
So we was able to take the leftover money and put it back into some of our local families that needed help for Christmas.
Awesome.
So anyway, so that's pretty cool.
Fantastic.
That's a pretty cool little group there. So, and it's pretty close to my heart with that. So it's cool to see people in the oil and gas industry open up about Jesus.
Yes.
And everybody has a story, right? So we get to hear those stories. So it's pretty cool. So
yeah, it really is. Yeah. And what a great organization. Yeah. So if you want some information on that, I'm sure Mickey can give it to you.
Absolutely. Industry of Faith of LA.
There you go. So I do one thing we do on my show that I find fun is we do fun facts. Okay. So what it does for me, I love fun facts. What it does for me is it gets me more information about your business in a fun way and kind of lets me learn it too. But I'm going to give you some on barbecue. That was particularly fun. So 60% of grillers say they barbecue year round, which is contrary to popular belief, which it's just for summertime. I found that interesting.
Yeah,
and
no
of
doubt.
course around here, we really have summertime year round, I guess in South Louisiana, but 60%. So the first president to host a barbecue in the White House was Lyndon Johnson. He actually featured Texas-style ribs. And believe it or not, every president since has had a barbecue at the White House. So maybe they'll invite Buddy's barbecue.
Never
for
know.
The next
It could happen.
It could happen.
My daughter is going into law school. So
there you go. Yeah, work that out. Get that going. Yeah. So what would you say is the most popular holiday for barbecue?
Labor Day. Labor Day and Memorial Day.
Memorial Day. Memorial Day is supposedly the most popular. Now, shocking fact here, over 150 million hot dogs are consumed on Memorial Day alone.
Really? And I don't even sell a hot dog.
It's unbelievable, though.
I do sell a sausage
you
dog.
You will tomorrow, though.
Oh, yes.
At least for Memorial Day.
That's right. That's exactly right.
150 million.
That is unbelievable.
Golly, that's a lot. So the top 3 areas for barbecue, I bet you can name them.
So Memphis is one, Kansas City.
Yes.
And the third area.
The third is really a state.
Oh, Texas.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
I knew that.
So yes. And the Carolinas are in there too, as like a fourth.
Yeah.
So the term barbecue stems from the West Indian term barbacoa, which translated means slow cooking over hot coals.
Right. So that is a fact. People don't realize. A lot of people in our area, we're so used to cooking everything fast, frying, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So nobody around here wants to take time and cook. So keep the slow cooking in your path. Like we cook pork for 15, 16 hours.
Yes.
At lower temperatures.
Yes.
So, brisket
Fall.
is a 13-hour run.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, so a lot of people, they try, I'll cook my brisket in 8 hours. I'm like, you need to slow it down.
Yeah. That's
Don't rush it.
I'll tell you what, the slower the better in a lot of cases. Louisiana specifically is known for its special form of barbecue called Couchon de lait, which is a Cajun-style pig roast.
Yeah.
So I've actually been to one of those, and boy, the outside is crispy, the inside's tender.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of them. It's fantastic. I built one. I built a pit when I was in Memphis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I gotta figure out where that's at, but. So we cooked ribs in them. We cooked butts in them. It was cool.
Yeah, you've heard of those Cajun microwaves or
yeah.
whatever. They lower it down, and those are interesting. So, Mickey, where can people come to get some Buddy's Barbecue in Denham Springs, and also where can they find you on social?
Yeah, so we're located on 105 Florida Boulevard. We're right next to Little Caesars and in Walgreens. We're at the corner of Main and Main. So I like to tell people. Range in Florida is where we sit.
Really a great location.
It really
right
is.
in front of the Antique Village.
Right.
And
we get a lot of that walk traffic. I tell people all the time, you could park in the back. You can park behind my store. I have an entrance in the back and have entrance in the front. The front is full a lot, so it's misleading. But that's where you can find us. And then, we have Facebook. You got to realize, we're 40 year in some change, so we're not the greatest Facebook folks, but we do post. We have daily specials.
Awesome.
Also have a website that has really been taken off, and I wanted to mention that. It's buddiesbarbecuelouisiana.com.
There you go.
And you can do online ordering, and then you can just swing up there and pick it up.
So you do online ordering. Fantastic.
Yeah, so this is something that we started. This was actually out of COVID. I had a company came to me and said, hey, we're waiving all the fees.
Yeah.
We just want you, you sign like a monthly contract, which I got to pay anyway.
Yeah.
And so they waive all the initial setup. I had Dan Vallo's wife came and took some great pictures.
Fantastic.
So go check it out. So it's Buddies, BUDDYS, BBQLouisiana.com.
Awesome.
So
check it
so we
out.
lock that down. So
Definitely.
you put in what you want, what time you want to pick it up, and we'll have it ready for you. So
perfect. And you also do catering. We discussed that a little bit. So
catering is really my heart. I'm really successful in feeding a bunch of people. I think that the people that have used us in the past can vouch for that.
Yeah.
So I've done weddings. I've got a couple weddings this year coming up that I look forward to. We do corporate events, just kind of whatever. I'm a la carte. If somebody don't want all barbecue, I can cook anything.
Sure.
I've been in the seafood business. I can know how to do all that stuff. So
excellent.
We're open for it.
So catering or sit down. Stephanie Berthelot and the crew at SR Enterprise can handle it all, from sheetrock to texture to paint. Give Stephanie a call at 504-432-9284. SR Enterprise, where they spread the paint and you spread the word. Whatever you want, he can take care
I do
of
want to
you.
mention something too. We actually have a group of men that meet on Monday nights at our store. So the evening crowd is mostly to go or drive through.
Yeah.
So people are picking up on the way home. They bring the food home to eat.
Sure.
So our dining room is open. So I think our Monday group is like 20 people.
Yeah.
So if you have 25 or less people and you want to come in the afternoons, our dining room is open for that. I'll lock it down and give you the whole floor. We have a TV if you want to plug things in.
Awesome. So kind of like a meeting room with food.
Like a meeting room, right? So and then the front will be open for business. We have a couple places to sit up there, and then we could still do drive-through. So we had a group of men from Healing Place. They came over and said, "Hey, man, what can we pray for you about?" I said, "Hey, I need some business in the evenings."
Yeah.
He says, "Hey, what if I can help you out?"
There you go.
So it was cool. Perfect. It was really, really cool thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So check that out if you're interested in getting some meeting space and some great barbecue in the process. I know a guy. So I do. Mickey, I appreciate you coming by. I want to thank the yin to my yang over here. You can't see her. She's off camera. She is the peas to my carrot, my sister from another mister. I can only be talking about my executive producer, Casey McMurray. She does all kinds of things for me, and I appreciate her very much. My guest for today, Mickey Watson of Buddy's Barbecue. And all you viewers and listeners for your support, please follow us on all our social media and spread the word as we do everything we can to help small business compete with big business. Thank you to all our sponsors, including Premier Credit, Trisha Johnston Realtor, Black Sheep Creative, William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance, Sport and Center, SR Enterprise Painting, BJ Pawn and Gun, Tiffany Seacard of Home Key Mortgage, and iTrade Exchange. We could not do any of this without all of you. If you're interested in sponsoring local leaders or appearing on the show, please reach out to Casey McMurray at Casey@localleadersthepodcast.com and check out our website at localleadersthepodcast.com. You can find some great business blogs. We have past guest videos, and we also have all kinds of other information on there. So check that out. Until next time, I am Jim Chapman reminding you, love your community, support local business, and keep leading.